Hi everybody, it's Meg from Books Off the Beaten Path, looking like a little hippie because I have spent some time standing out in the rain with Moose, who's been really going through it with this cone on his head. I should put a picture of him up with the cone on his head, but I think that's almost cruel, so I'm not going to do that. Now, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about antique, vintage, and modern books, and what I want to read and why I want to read it. And first off, let me just say this is my darn channel and I can read anything I want. But my love of vintage novels is kind of what got this whole thing rolling, and I know that you guys love them too, and so I don't want you to feel let down by this book, this story actually, that I'm going to be reading for my next installment. I think it's a book. It's not really a story, but let's start off. Let's start off with the beginning is why I want to read it. Have you guys ever heard of Henry James? Put a picture of him up there. This is one of my most prized possessions. This is Henry James' Ghostly Tales. Isn't it beautiful? Look at those sprayed edges. And in it is one of my favorite ghost stories of all time, and that is The Turn of the Screw. Now you have to sort of read it to understand the significance of the title, but here's an illustration. Let me crawl up in there so you can see that. Pretty spooky, huh? Now, that story was written in 1898, and fun fact about that story was actually put into Henry James's brain by the Archbishop of Canterbury. He was at a dinner party, and it was after dinner, and they were all sitting around the fire exchanging ghost stories, you know, as you do. We don't do that so much anymore, but you did back then. And the Archbishop of Canterbury told this story that was so horrifying about a governess corrupting children. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, corrupting children, that Henry James took it and ran with it and made it into The Turn of the Screw. And he himself was so frightened by it that when he would have to do edits late at night of the story, he had trouble sleeping afterwards because he was afraid that he would hear noises and everything like that. So it even scared him. Now, the book that I want to read is called Sherlock Holmes and the Ghost of Bly. Now, we all know, or maybe we don't know, I don't know that I've ever discussed what a Sherlock Holmes fan I am. I am a Sherlock Holmes fan. I think that Conan Doyle is one of the best writers that's ever been on the planet. I think that Sherlock Holmes is one of the best characters that's ever been on the planet. And so this is about, basically, it's a retelling of The Turn of the Screw with Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson involved in it. Because Bly is where the house is in the story. Now, let me just be clear. If you watch the Netflix, The Ghosts of Bly or The Haunting of Bly or something like that, I think I can find a picture of it somewhere, you did not watch The Turn of the Screw. That had very little, if nothing, to do with the original story. Anyway, to make a long story short, I love my vintage. I love my vintage. And my love of vintage books was why I started this channel, because I know a lot of you guys out there love vintage too, and I didn't feel like anybody was reading it, let alone talking about it. But this is a modern book, and I occasionally will read modern books on there. This one was copyright 2010, so it's not like it was copyright yesterday. What is that, 20 years ago? But I'm excited about it, and I want to read it. And I want to see how this person, Donald Thomas, who has written lots and lots of other books about Sherlock Holmes, talks about the Ghosts of Bly and the Turn of the Screw, and how he melds those two stories into one. So I'm very excited about reading that. It's been a very stormy, windy, cloudy, thundering day here in T-Town. And I can't wait to get under the covers tonight and start reading about the ghosts of Bly. And I hope you guys are okay with that. I mean, I don't want to be someone who says I'm going to do one thing and then I do the other. But I hope you guys are okay with, you know, the occasional smattering of the modern book in here, in this channel, because I love you guys so much and the community means so much to me. I don't want to let you guys down, so I felt like I had to make this video. Anyway, give me a like, hit subscribe. Whoever you are, new subscriber, old subscriber, part of the community, part of the Books Off the Beaten Path community, leave me a comment. I love the comments. You know how much I love the comments. So other than that, I don't have too much else to say. I've got my popcorn with me, and I will check you later.